السلام عليكم ورحمة الله، يا أهلا وسهلا بأفخم متابعين ومستمعين بالعالم. تحياتنا لكم من العاصمة الإماراتية أبو ظبي. اليوم إحنا في الحلقة الثانية من دردشة بزنس مع المدير التنفيذي لشركة بولستار. هاي العلامة اللي عملت صدى كتير كبير بعالم السيارات. الشخص اللي جالس جنبي أنا من زمان حاب أتعرف عليه ومن زمان حاب أقابله، نظرا أنه هو المدير التنفيذي الوحيد في عالم السيارات في الوقت الحالي اللي جاي من خلفية مصمم سيارات. علامة بولستار علامة عم تتجه اتجاه صاروخي في الفخامة وبالكهرباء، سيارات كهربائية ناجحة جدا، نجحت بعدد كتير كبير من الأسواق. اليوم إن شاء الله رح نتكلم مع المدير التنفيذي وندخل معاه ونغوص معاه في تفاصيل جدا مهمة لأهمية بولستار ولأهمية هاي السيارة الكهربائية بالنسبة لمجموعة جيلي بشكل عام ولا دول مجلس التعاون الخليجي تحديدا اللي احنا متواجدين حاليا بأبو ظبي. جنبي السيد توماس إنجلات اللي هو المدير التنفيذي لشركة بولستار. Welcome to Abu Dhabi, sir. Thank you very much for giving us the time today with all the followers and fans of ArabGT.
Great to be here.
And welcome to Abu Dhabi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
First of all, I believe this is a lovely weather for you coming from Sweden. Temperature today is around 43 degrees, so I believe this is not even a normal summer in Scandinavia.
No, I was so amazed that we actually managed to go on top of the 20 degrees last week in Gothenburg. And I thought, wow, that's actually pretty warm. Now I know, no, it wasn't.
This is different, next level. GCC, Polestar, you have a partnership with Al-Futtaim Automotive, you have a dealership already and a partnership in Kuwait. How do you define the relationship between Polestar and between the two distributors in the GCC?
Well, I mean, they are great partners for us because bringing that new brand into this region, I think it's really good to not try that on your own, but to actually to find somebody who knows the market very well, who can help to establish the brand, and who, in a way, has a very similar vision of, that market being actually highly attractive for a brand that has this portfolio, this ambition, and is, as an electric brand, of course, very much aligned with what the future of this country in terms of sustainability is.
How come it's only still between UAE and Kuwait? I mean, are you guys looking for more distributors to come in the rest of the region, such as Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain?
No, it's a beginning, it's a start. And of course, the idea and the vision of how much this whole Middle East region could become actually a quite substantial piece of what Polestar's production in the future where it would go to. So as an example, the Roadster, which was presented and marketed as a first year edition, where we had 500 cars of this first year edition to offer to the customer, actually 10%, 50 of these cars were reserved and bought here from customers in this region. So I think that can be quite indicative of how the future could develop. And of course, that would mean as well expanding and going broader here.
When you were mentioning about going outside, expanding more, how do you view Polestar? If we have definitely some viewers today, they will be keen to know more. What's the vision for Polestar? And how can we differentiate between Polestar, Volvo, Geely as a group? Where does Polestar stand in this equation?
Foundation of Polestar is obviously design. Anything that we do, is it an arena of sustainability, is it an arena of innovation? All of that is communicated through great design. We want to make desirable products where people are really, not because they saw now, okay, I have to drive an electric car, that's better. No, it's really about, wow, I want to have that car. That Polestar is so desirable, it's so great looking, it has such a great technology, I must have it. That is an electric car that you buy into is kind of an effect that comes, naturally with it. So that desirable product, that type of must-have product, as well, of course, the premiumness. I mean, our product range clearly going all the way to $100,000 and above. I mean, it is a very premium, luxurious product at the end of the day. That's why design, desirability, great tech is big part of our brand story.
So design is like uniqueness, if you put it this way.
I mean,
Innovation and design.
what makes the final purchase decision? It's always about you really buying into that look, that feeling of the car, what it represents. The car still is so much of a statement about your own personality, what you stand for, what kind of product you associate with. And I think that for that reason, you should never underestimate the power of the brand, the power of the product, and all the rest of it. You know, how big is your battery? How much range? How fast are you from 0 to 100? Important things, but they don't make the purchase decision.
So design, in your wording,
Of course,
design will move your feelings, will make you take the decision. Is it because I believe you're the only CEO who became a CEO coming from a background of a design, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably that is
And
one
it's
of
really
the
rare
unique
in the automotive
features.
in the automotive industry. It's really rare to find a designer who will be heading up a whole new company who became a CEO. So, is it why?
You know,
Is
it's
this
so
the reason?
strange. I think rarely, normally, you look into, this is the background of the CEO. I mean, even if you come from marketing, look at Imeo coming from marketing. It's less of a topic than the designer Thomas Inglath becoming a CEO of Polestar. I think it's because people have maybe the wrong perception that as a designer you're just in a dreamy artistic world, and for that reason it seems such a contrast to a job where you expect, you have to make very rational decisions and you have to be very economic-wise educated. Now, from both ways, it's wrong. As a designer, if you lead a modern design entity in a company, of course you have a managerial job. You have to anchor even your taste decision in a company strategic thinking, and you cannot be just led by emotions. So you have, of course, to accomplish much more of a strategic thinking, even if you just run the design department, than the CEO job. Imagine today's world. We have to make decisions going into a future where customer behavior in terms of electrification, technology, all of that is today very unpredictable. We are not now led by data from the past. We're actually led much more about future trends, having a vision for where basically the whole world is going. And I think as a designer, you grew up with, you are used to making decisions that you cannot just simply build on experience and data that has been established. You have to have that visionary aspect, you have to have that certain understanding of what is the trend of society, of design, of innovation going. And you have as well the mindset of daring. In America, probably as well big parts of Chinese thinking, you are a very entrepreneurial spirit when you lead a company. You seek for opportunities, you dare to do things which might not have been so much part of the history of the company. In Europe, we are much more used to go a rather steady and you could call it conservative way in how you develop the company. And in those days, this can be a very dangerous way of doing it. You can be too slow, you can be too careful in terms of, which direction should I go. And I think the whole European car industry needs to be embracing the new and risking a bit more about, what the future brings.
Is it enough for someone to have this inner energy where he sees a vision and he wants to seek for it, he works really hard towards it, without putting in perspective risks, threatens, business model? With Polestar, it's a completely different models. I mean, you have investors, you have shareholders, you're part of a global corporate in China. So with putting a different vision related to background of design, you seeked a new way of doing the business in the automotive, something unorthodox compared to other automotive brands in a way or another. Am I right in putting it this way?
The role as a CEO, you lead a big team, a great team of management around you, a great team of people all coming with lots of expertise and experience into this business. The energy and the vision that you put in here is, of course, anchored with a lot of special knowledge in terms of financial, technology, and economics. So this is, of course, teamwork in that way. Myself putting all that energy and the drive in terms of pursuing that one goal and keeping really the company on track in terms of the vision of Polestar as being the guiding star when it comes to design, when it comes to embracing new technology, being really focused on, in a way, a very customer-centric company. That's, just keeping the track and making sure that we don't get lost in disturbances, questions that come from outside, and really always keeping the ship on track.
When we want to differentiate between Polestar and Volvo, because a lot of people, they still think of the Polestar as a division of Volvo, since the heritage of Polestar, the brand, it's been running for years. It used to be as a performance division of Volvo. Now, in the past 2 years, things are moved completely in a complete different ways. And Polestar as a brand, it's a standalone brand, has nothing to do with performance vehicles for Volvo. From your managerial level, how do you look at the relationship with Volvo specifically, and how do you differentiate Polestar compared to someone telling you, Polestar, Volvo, it's the same car, same platform, you guys share a lot together. Sometimes they think that you build the same car in the same production line. So how do you differentiate these two brands from each other?
The key task in the very beginning to actually define the brand values distinct and differentiated to the brand Volvo. Yes, we are very close, so it was even more important to be that clear in the beginning and keep that in order to make sure that despite the closeness and despite the fact that we share a lot of as well values in common, not only technology, that there's a different brand, a different offer to the customer. I know it, of course, by heart, because having been the design boss of Volvo for almost 6 years, it's a brand that is so much anchored in the safety thinking, so much anchored in delivering a car that is a very equal car to everybody. So it's not the driver who is the star in a car, it is the family, it is the whole passenger cabin. And it's, of course, a brand that is non-confrontational. It's a brand that everybody loves and embraces. Polestar is much more embracing the driver, for sure.
More selfish towards the driver.
More selfish. I've no problem with that attribute.
Being selfish to the car that you love, so this is a good thing, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, a Volvo owner probably would never admit that he bought the car for himself. Or no, he bought it, of course, for the family and stuff. Yeah. Polestar owners, of course, you bought it for yourself. It's not a problem for the family. Hey, your son and your daughter, they're proud for it as well. But you loved it. You really wanted to have that car. And of course, the whole attitude, how the car drives, the whole setting of how it reacts, it is a bit sportier, it's a bit more engaging in driving. So these are definitely connected to our heritage, things that come through the heritage of the old Polestar as a tuning, as a sports brand of Volvo. Now, in terms of trying new things, going for a full electric brand that embraces electrification, doing over-the-air updates first time in the group, doing simple things like the regenerative braking, that we go full in and have this really one-pedal drive feeling. Bit of a surprise for people that come from combustion engine driving, but as soon as you get used to it, it's like it's a great thing to do. So all of these benefits, if you concentrate on one task, that we could bundle in the brand Polestar. And I think the product portfolio today, when you look at cars like the Polestar 5 or 6, yeah. I mean, they stand here, of course, representing that new brand Polestar. I always say that, I mean, Scandinavian design is such a world success. It's so broadly acknowledged on the whole globus. Even car companies that don't come from Sweden embrace Scandinavian design. So definitely Sweden can easily cater for 2 car brands. It did in the past with Saab and Volvo, and now it's Polestar and Volvo. It can cater for 2 brands, enough spread within that range.
Amazing. So the synergy between Volvo and Polestar, it makes perfect sense. How do you view the relationship with Geely or Geely? I don't know how you pronounce it. With the mother company, a Chinese group, huge group. They own several brands now. With having Lotus, with the Volvo accessibility to the North American market, and with having such a very strong car manufacturer in China with unbelievable limit of resources, manpower, technology, and everything. How do you view it from your side towards your business, towards Polestar as a brand? What's the synergy as a group level? With Volvo, okay, it makes sense, both Swedish brands, but as a group level, how do you view it?
Yeah, I think each and every brand that is around that size where we are aiming with at Polestar, by the way, we are not there yet, but you obviously need to stand on a broader base of partners where you can actually leverage technology. I mean, the car is such a complex and difficult product, not only from production, but the development. If you look into the safety systems that are needed today, just to make the car legal, the comfort level customers expect, all the ADAS system, the autonomous drive features.
I need some examples from you on these.
For example,
the amount of complications.
Imagine, we want to bring this Polestar 3 for the first time to the customer in 2 years' time kind of frame, that you, on the highway, on the high-speed highway drive, can fully detach from the driving function. So not just, the steering aid that you have today, but real the driver out of the loop. So the first time that as a private car owner you experience that type of autonomous drive.
Scary.
It's scary, but imagine, I mean, in a lot of commute, you going here from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, you can browse your phone, you can actually close your eyes for a minute.
Watch a movie.
That's a perfect comfort feature. To do that, you need, of course, to certify the car with millions of data points in order to make sure that the system is safe. If you, as a small, lower, mid-volume brand, want to achieve that, very, very difficult.
And very costly.
And very costly. To do that in a combination of you building on a platform where that system is approved on a much larger scale, that, of course, is a big advantage. Just as one concrete example where such a highway piloting feature would be very difficult to achieve as a standalone brand Polestar. So here, technology that we can pitch in with is very helpful. You have to have the right mix. Doing a top hat on an existing platform can be very sufficient, very good. I think Polestar 3 is a brilliant example. If you look at the Polestar 3 next to the coming EX90, very, very different cars, very different attitude, very different functionality that it offers to the customer. But based on a similar drivetrain and battery sourcing, all done in the meaning of the big group. Similar with Geely, of course, we are part Volvo, Polestar, part of this big wider Geely group. Again, you can see the trend in the car industry in order to be fit for the future, to manage your sourcing, all the scarce, the raw materials that are scarce, that you need really much broader and multiple sourcing strategies. It's not just that there's this Geely group collecting more and more brands. That's, of course, the same when you look at
all the other
French,
groups.
German, big car brands, US. I mean, there's concentration in bigger groups happening for exactly the same reasons.
How did you differentiate the relationship with Geely as a mother company? Do they interfere with with the procedures? Do they interfere with the pricing, with the amount of technology or the amount of spend in design and architecting the car? Or you have the complete freedom, like there is a budgeting once a year, it's a set up budget, we will meet end of the year and I will show you what I did, me and my team, we will show you the results. Is it the A or B in terms of a relationship? Or it's a mix between both?
I have to tell you, complete freedom is a very rare thing that you find in life. It's a very healthy relationship because for most of the part, Volvo and Geely actually are kind of suppliers to us. We use technology that we kind of shop and buy from them. We buy production volume where we say, okay, this or that car, we need that amount of volume. For example, in the Charleston factory in the US, where we will produce the Polestar 3 in a Volvo plant. So this is where this relation is very much like, we are family on one hand, but of course we pay for the product that they deliver to us as a produced car then. For us, very good, because as a small company to build up production facilities across the world would be very costly, very time-wise, long-term
and it needs
things.
a lot of, it will take a lot of cash, time, efforts.
At the same time, of course, there's ownership. They have a certain percentage of stake in our listed company. And like any owner with a certain volume, of course, they have a say in certain strategic decisions, which through the board and us going to the board and seeking for approval of our ideas and strategies are signed off. So I would rather see it as an advantage that we know each other very well, because of course alignment in these strategic decisions is mostly given because we have a very similar ambition.
How do you view the rest of the automotive groups? I mean, I want you to name at least 3 brands that you think of Polestar and you aim to compete against. Okay. If you allow me to ask you this question, like some 3 brands that you really highly respect and you really look forward to, and you believe that you and them share a little bit of a similarity in the same vision, looking for the future.
Oh, I thought you named our company.
No,
it's me.
No.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, right. Easy.
I'm not Volvo, of course.
No. I can give you. I mean, let's start with the obvious one, which a lot of people would immediately think of for probably the wrong reasons. Tesla. What really is an amazing achievement, how the company Tesla managed to succeed in bringing electromobility to a breakthrough, making it accepted and making that point that it can be highly successful when at that point in time the rest of the world
everyone was laughing
was
at
really
them.
laughing. So well done. Very different how they are aiming now for a mass market, going to compete with brands like Volkswagen, Toyota, and for good reasons. I mean, I appreciate that they're trying to actually reach a high volume, low entry price car segment. Not at all our journey. Our journey, of course, we want to keep that kind of more smaller sized volume, more exclusive, more premium. In that we are, for example, I think closer than to Tesla, to Lucid, who is, of course, as well going into the premium luxury segment.
So you feel like Polestar and Lucid are closer in terms of the vision and how they look?
Than with Tesla, yeah, on that kind of target customer. But very different ways of how they want to achieve it. Not being part of a bigger group, not going and sharing technology, but really this completely vertical integrated model, which of course has its own difficulties. Now you're searching for a third brand.
Third brand, yes. And I'm expecting you to mention some German brand. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it to you.
I will go for. I could go for a German brand and say Porsche, and of course that would be almost too expected. But just for, I talked about desirability and love for a brand, and there I just simply bring it now out, Alfa Romeo. If you think how people had that very emotional relation with the company, that very much for design reasons brought cars out there, but not just because of the looks, but of course the technology that was in those cars were as well a big part of the soul of the company. I think that harmony of great design, the romance for that product, and on the other hand, technology that supports it and is a big part of that.
Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo, yeah, I think that is...
So it's interesting. Tesla expected for me. Lo said, I would thought like, okay, but it's still a startup company in a way or another. They have only one model so far, but they're seeking to get more models roll out. Alfa Romeo, last episode we did an interview with the head of operation of Alfa Romeo globally. So it's an interesting to mention Alfa Romeo. I want to check with you a couple of names, and I want to know from your perspective, how do you view these companies? Such as the traditional Germans, Audi, BMW, Mercedes. Jaguar is transforming itself into a fully electric car. We have General Motors, they're relaunching Cadillac into a premium, very expensive, very futuristic electric cars. Lincoln is trying to do the same. So a lot of premiumness in the segment. How do you view these brands, and what do you think the obstacles is going to be in this segment?
Full respect for these brands. I mean, I love brands. I love the heritage that these brands obviously have built up over a long time. And of course, there's so much that you can work with and do with this heritage. And of course, as well, the power of these brands, not only as a brand value, but as well the organizations, the experience behind it. One should never underestimate what these companies can do and will do. Their task and challenge to now adapt to the new technology, of course, it's gigantic. I mean, that's the transition is not an easy task. And
especially for big groups, or it doesn't matter?
Generally, if you grew up and made all your brand equity in the era of combustion engines, then what your engineers, what your production, what your thinking is, of course, led by is that type of experience. And now a simple symbol, I mean, how many brands actually achieve their recognition out in the traffic through having designed and built a grille, an air intake, that identity of their brand. Now imagine that was, of course, big times cooling that hot combustion engine. So this big air intake grille is obsolete, is not anymore at all the symbol of the electric age. So you have to redefine, you have to think about how does my brand find recognition, a face in the traffic in the future. So that's a big task.
And do you think the brands that I've mentioned, they will be able to do this transformation?
Well, they have great design departments that are working very hard.
Very diplomatic answer, Thomas.
I realized when we started Polestar, there was this strange idea in parts of the industry that everything that brand-wise should exist and has happened, and from now on, that's it.
We move forward.
And I felt like, come on, guys. It is like everything in life, it's a come and go. Something comes, something goes, and there is a big bulk of things that is consistent, but there is movement in there. And that new brands are coming. That maybe not all the brands will continue. I think that is something which is just part of life, and we should all be a bit more flexible and respecting that.
See this perspective? This is coming from a background of a designer. You look at it from a different perspective than someone who's coming from a background of sales or finance or marketing, where they think of like opportunity and want to seize it immediately. But you look at the Polestar or you look at the other competitors, like this is a chapter where everyone can have their own comments, their own notes, and we move forward. We enhance each other, we build something together, and it will be by the year, we will be having more sustainable product, more energetic product, more powerful brand.
But this is well a cultural thing. Imagine the brands you mentioned. Of course, they are part of the establishment. They live in the well-developed, rich industrial countries. To just simply realize as well, of course, times are changing. There are new upcoming new regions, countries that have their own industries developing, their own competences coming. I think that's a fact, and there is a constant fight for survival and innovation needed in order to maintain your position up there. I think being too scared and too conservative about, I want to freeze that moment in time, that doesn't work.
That doesn't work at all. Polestar, so far, last year I was with you guys in Copenhagen. I've witnessed the reveal of the Polestar 3, and you guys already have the Polestar 4. I can see the beauty behind me, the Polestar 5, Polestar 6. What's coming in 2023, 2024? How many new models Polestar are planning to reveal?
Well, we made now pretty public what will be the range of Polestar with the Polestar 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. This
6 cars.
Because the Polestar 1 is already our history. It was a 3 years production which has ended already. These cars are in collector hands. The Polestar 2 is out on the street today, and we will add now the Polestar 3 as our first SUV. So the Polestar 3 will come to the customers next year. We will launch it and bring it to the Polestar spaces this year. That's for the first time that type of, in the heart of the Polestar brand, in terms of technology ambition, pricing as well. Of course, not the cheapest SUV. It's competing with the cars like a Q7. And we have immediately then, in 2024, it's SUV coupe, but not the traditional way that you just change the roof, but really a car that is very different in its build-up, the Polestar 4 coming. So the Polestar 4 will price-wise be one step below the Polestar 3, but at this very new impression of how an electric sports SUV looks like. So these are the two cars for 2024. Then in 25, we bring the Precept, the Polestar 5, into production.
2025.
Yeah, aluminum structure as a architecture underneath, specially developed for Polestar, our own drivetrain. We will launch it at the end of 24. It will coming to the customer in the beginning of 25. And then the Sherry on top, using what technology we have in the 5, shortening the wheelbase and putting that beautiful roadster concept onto the Polestar 5 architecture. So this car here will come then in 2026, so that the first customers in the summer can enjoy the roadster feeling in the Polestar 6.
Definitely not in the summer of Abu Dhabi. Summer of Scandinavia.
Yeah, okay. In your winter, in our summer.
Yes. This way we can enjoy the rest of the year. 3 months here, 3 months over there. Mr. Thomas, thank you very much for your time for the day. We wish you and we wish Polestar, the brand, all the best of luck. I'm really excited. I can't wait to drive the Polestar 3, to have a look at what's coming, the design language that you guys are trying to implement, and looking forward to even drive the Polestar 4, 5, and 6 in the coming 2-3 years. And looking forward to see you more of Polestars in our roads, more distributors in our region. Thank you very much for your time.
Great, thank you. And I'm very curious to hear your judgment once you drop there.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. مشاهدين عرب جي تي، شكرا جزيلا لوقتكم، واتمنى تكون المقابله اعجبتكم. طبعا تاكدوا انه القناه اللي بتحضروا عليها هي قناه عرب جي تي بودكاست، غير عن قناتنا الرسميه. ضروري تكونوا مشتركين بالقناه. خبرونا بخانه التعليقات شو نظرتكم على شركه بولستار. الجماعه راح يقراوا كل تعليقاتكم. اي ملاحظات، اي نوتس، اي تعليقات عليكم على شركه بولستار او على المقابله بشكل عام، اعطونا اياها بخانه التعليقات. مستمعينا الكرام تتابعونا على منصات البودكاست، شكرا جزيلا لوقتكم، واتمنى تكون المقابله مع السيد توماس اعجبتكم، واتمنى يكون الحوار العفوي اللي صار بينه وبينه اعجبكم. شكرا لكم، شكرا لمشاهدتكم، السلام عليكم.